Hey guys, just wanted to come at you with a topic that's been kind of near and dear to my heart since I've been reading through some of the emails, and for New Year's a lot of you have asked me questions on how old your kids should be before you can put them on a diet. So my answer to that is this. I don't feel that any kid should be on a quote-unquote diet. I feel that they should have their dietary needs explained to them in a very fragile manner. And this only hits close to home with me because I do work with a lot of parents. I have also been in the fitness industry, so I've seen the rigors of very orthorexic and very strict and rigid mothers and fathers putting their kids on diet plans or clean eating plans and labeling foods good or bad foods so that these kids have disordered eating from the time that they're little kids. It also comes very prevalently in the competitive gymnastics sector and a lot of competitive athletics. Because let's face it, some of these athletic sports that these kids are doing would require them to be faster. It would require them to have athletic skill like gymnastic skills and such. So that is a difficult situation, primarily because when you're teaching these kids, you're teaching them to be labeling foods good and bad again, or healthy and not healthy, based upon what the parent thinks these foods do to the child. So if you're a macro tracker, you obviously know and understand, but it's difficult to convey that message to your kids about what healthy is and what balance is. So here's my answer to should a child be a macro tracker. If the child eats about half or 3/4 of what the mother is eating and they're gaining weight, there would be a way for you to teach the child moderation and instinctual eating and making sure that they have something that they really like as long as they're getting their protein requirements met, which is one of the #1 reasons why kids overeat on chips and granola bars and things of that nature, is they have not had adequate protein for the day. So I would start with education first to make sure that you're not putting your child at risk for disordered eating or feeling guilty because they're having foods that are labeled good or bad, unhealthy, not healthy. They then will start to associate kids who are overweight with poor eating habits at home, and that's not always the case. Sometimes it is. Most of the time it's a situation where the child might be eating enough to maintain their weight, but they're having very little if no movement throughout the day while they're in school, and they have very little if no movement while they're at home watching TV and playing video games and such. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, would be to educate the child about food and nutrition and labels and how to get the right amount of nutrition instead of saying you're eating too much, showing them what is enough. And that would be my advice. I do feel like if somebody has a child under 13, that's too young to make them a quote-unquote macro tracker or to introduce them to flexible dieting. I did see a diagram on Instagram last week of a mother that gave her daughter a food plan, and it was on the refrigerator, and it made me very upset because in the snack portion, all it had was almonds and strawberries. I don't think that kids should be labeled, or should be labeling foods healthy and bad. I don't feel like they should be limited to 30 items or less. I think that they should have some structure, and they should have some education on what foods are healthier and what things are a little bit more flexible. And again, they shouldn't hear their parents talking about cheat meals. They shouldn't hear their parents talking about oh, this has too much fat, or I'm so fat. And all of that goes along with, just like you wouldn't typically fight in front of your children, I would also be very careful about what you say about one another or yourself in front of children, especially females, mothers to daughters, males, fathers to sons. And, if you have insecurities with your body, you are more likely to pass those insecurities along to your children. So there's that. That's just my 2 cents. Again, I don't have kids, but I do work with plenty of clients who do. And my heart goes out to the children who do struggle with their weight, I do feel like if you educate them, you can get them to a place where they understand why food is necessary, how much to eat, that some of the eating, it can be associated with emotional issues, and then you can work on that from that point forward. Thanks.